David. This is Najee from Cigar Talk. Congratulations on your victory tonight. You fought a bunch of elite opponents, throughout your career, between Caleb Plant and Andre, and of course now Morrell. Can you talk about where he ranks just as far as difficulty, between your past opponents?
The boxing world has reacted to the electrifying showdown between David Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. are the most shocking reactions.
Hard for this moment. I've trained extremely hard, and now we're ready. Now we're coming with all energy. Not like this pussy right here. Peace and love. What was all that you were talking about back then? Look, now this guy's nervous. I'm gonna beat the out of you, and I hope you don't have no excuses, because you look scared as right now. To be honest, you can smile, you do all you want, but watch. When you step into that ring this Saturday, that's like Monsters World. You're gonna see exactly what the made of.
Before the fight, many boxers and experts shared their predictions. Ricardo's sales anchor for Pro Box believed that the fight would be an all-out war with both fighters coming forward. He gave Benavidez a slight edge due to his experience and the fact that he used his jab effectively. However, he noted that Morrell would start to feel the pressure of Benz's power as the fight progressed, possibly making things harder for him as the rounds went on seamless. Expected Benavidez to control the fight with his relentless aggression, but also saw Morrell as a dangerous opponent who can withstand pressure and deliver his own counterattacks. Ricardo Seals said, "I think that Bennett's versus Morrell will be a real war between two fighters that come forward. Bennett's may have a slight edge because of his experience, and because he uses his jab well, Morrell is going to feel things get harder as he starts to feel the Mexican monster power Tris Dixon from." Boxing scene was hyped for Benavidez versus Morrell, calling it the kind of fight that's almost too good to be true. He acknowledged the questions lingering around the matchup. Is it too soon for Morrell? Is it too dangerous for Benavidez? But ultimately, he believed the fight was happening at just the right time. Dixon was confident that their styles would mesh perfectly, making for an all-action brawl between two fighters who bring SK skill, ambition, power, and the desire to face the best. Tris Dixon boxing scene said what? "A terrific fight. You always know a match is good when you aren't sure if it's actually been made or if it's fake news during the rounds. Is it too early for Morrell? Is it too risky for Benavidez? Regardless of the above, it's hard not to see the styles gelling. We know what we get from both fighters: skill, ambition, power, and the will to fight the best. One thing Dixon was particularly intrigued by is the bad blood between the two fighters. He hoped that the tension that's been building in the lead-up translates into an aggressive start, setting the stage for a fast-paced, breathless firefight. In his view, Benavidez would likely have to weather some rough patches, maybe even get knocked down, but in the end his relentless volume and sheer willpower would carry him to victory. Dixon saw this fight as a battle of attrition, one where Ben's ability to take punishment and keep throwing punches will be the deciding factor.
Anybody who I fight, and it just takes a little bit of trash talk to really get me set off, but he's been talking a lot. He's been calling me out for 2 years, so it's basically, I'm gonna shut this guy up. No, I'm not. I'm a professional. I've been doing this. I've been professional 11 years. I have way more experience. The fight that didn't let my emotions get to me was Caleb Plant, but you learn from experience, and I intend to use my experience to the best of my advantage. This fight, we're gonna do different stuff. We're gonna be throwing combinations off the bat, and as soon as I let my combinations go, you see that the best David Benavidez gets seen. So I'm not looking for one shot. Like I said, I'm gonna punish this dude, and I'm gonna punish him on every angle. Body shots, head shots, uppercuts, whatever it is, I'm gonna punish him.
Dispatch of East News was just as excited, calling it one of the biggest fights of the year. His connection to Bennett's runs deep. He recalled watching him train with man Paco when he was just 11 years old, seeing firsthand how the young fighter developed into the dominant force he is today. Spatch saw this as a true clash of two tremendous fighters, but he was siding with Benavidez by late stoppage. For Spatch, the fight was pure entertainment. From start to finish, must-see-V, he expected every single second to be thrilling, with neither fighter backing down. Even though he was predicting a Benavidez stoppage, he knew Morrell won't go down easy, making this an edge your seat showdown that could steal the show as one of the best fights of the year. Said, "I can't wait for February 1st. It's one of the biggest fights of the year. I used to watch Benavidez when he was 11 years old in the gym with Manny Paco, and I've seen him grow from there, and now he's fighting very, very tough David Morrell Jr., who's also a tremendous fighter, I'm picking Benavidez by late stoppage, but it's going to be a great fight. It's must-see every second. Will be exciting. In a recent interview before the fight, David Benavidez expressed his belief that he could entice Canelo Alvarez to step up to 175 pounds for a showdown. He planned to achieve this by first defeating David Morrell. Bennett stated that he still believes the Canelo bout will take place despite the belief that he had finally given up on it. I knew one day they would ask for that fight. And today it's amazing how much attention that fight is getting. I think I'm winning more right now with him putting it off because people are seeing they offered him $70 million to fight me. That's before fighting me, said David Benavidez, to all the smoke about a fight between him and Canelo Alvarez. He added, so imagine after PPV so. What Canelo does is he pays guys flat fees. They had offered me $5 million. I said, cool, we agreed, said yes. And then we never heard back. They were calling the bait out. They wanted to see if I would say yes or no. They were calling the bait out. They thought I was going to say, no, I'm not going to fight for $5 million. This fight is worth way more. So I called their bluff and said yes. And that's the last time I heard about that fight. Canelo hasn't shown any inclination to face David, instead opting for opponents who catch his interest and have said about a fight between him and Canelo. But this fight is inevitable. Everyone is asking for it. It's the biggest fight that can possibly be made. I'm not scared of Canelo. I feel like I can beat him. That's basically what I've been doing with David Morrell. He further added, David Morrell has been talking a lot, saying I can't beat him. And what am I doing? I'm going and facing him. That's what a true champion should do. If I'm sitting here telling Canelo I can knock him out and beat him, why doesn't he come shut me up and make a lot of money? That's what he's doing now. He's fighting easier opponents and making $30 million. If he fights me, he makes triple. That's so make it make sense. Benz's ambitions of defeating Morrell and then claiming the undisputed title at 175 come across as little more than wishful thinking. Benavidez then said, I feel like he knows it's the toughest fight, and in his head he potentially knows he could lose. That's what I know. I know that for a fact. That's why he's not taking this fight. I don't think he's scared of me. He will fight me. But he knows if he loses this fight, he's probably going to retire. So that's a big if for me. My plan is now beating David Morrell, going up and winning the undisputed title. In that way, I can entice a fight with Canelo. Maybe we can do a catch weight at 172. I don't know if they would allow it to make matters more far-fetched. He believes he can convince Canelo to step up to light heavyweight for a showdown. A scenario that's highly unlikely. Canelo has no interest in facing an opponent who could have a 25 pounds weight advantage come fight night. He already faced a similar challenge with Edgar Berlanga and struggled. Benavidez added it would be the highest paying fight of all boxing. It's possible it can happen. Tyson Fury got $150 million. Usyk got like $150 million. I think Canelo is putting the price out there, letting people know what the cost is. Now you see he met with Turkey. I'll shake experts don't see Turkey giving Canelo $150 million. That seems unrealistic, particularly in light of Biv's fight with Morrell. So I think we're in a good position right now. I always keep my thoughts on my opponent in front of me. We're not thinking of Canelo right now. We're thinking of David Morrell. And after that, we're going to win the undisputed title, said Benavidez. Meanwhile, Caleb Plant is a superior fighter than David Morrell, according to trainer Jose Benavidez Sr., who believes he made a mistake by fighting David Bennett at this early stage of his 11-fight career. David Benavidez is an exciting fighter. He's a friendly TV fighter and a fighter that you guys are not going to regret watching, because he does bring a lot of excitement to the fight. Nothing is going to change here, said Jose Benavidez Sr. to Mill City Boxing, talking about Saturday's fight between David Morrell and David Benavidez. Jose Sr. stated that this was the best camp they had ever had, explaining that the reason for this was because both mentally and physically David Benavidez was on another level. He mentioned that Benavidez had matured and that his man strength had developed, which would result in a more powerful version of him than before. When asked whether Caleb Plant was better than David Morrell, Jose Sr. responded that he would say yes. He added, "My question is, why did they put Morrell with David? I think they made a big mistake." What Jose Sr. doesn't seem to grasp is that none of the fighters he mentions ever showed any desire to face Morrell. Even if they did step into the ring, it wouldn't benefit Morrell much, as they're all past their prime. Andrade at 36 and Durrell, now 40, are both well into the later stages of their careers. Durrell hasn't fought in 3 years, his last fight being a knockout loss to Plant in 2022. While Plant is still in his prime, it's unlikely he would take on Morrell anytime soon, Benavidez Sr. said. "If I was managing him, that's what I would probably do. I think they made a big mistake putting him with Benavidez. We don't know what Morrell has. He has 11 fights in his last fight. He had a little bit of trouble against a guy. I don't even know Govo defeated Morrell in their bout last August, demonstrating his superiority over the men Sr. wanted Morrell to face in order to gain experience. Jose's Sr.'s approach to avoiding a showdown reveals why it took both him and his son David Benavidez so long to accept the challenge from Morrell, despite the Cuban fighter calling them out as early as 2022. They avoided the fight until recently following David's bout with Rivo, and it's easy to understand why there's a noticeable sense of apprehension within Team Benavidez. Well, what do you think about the fight outcome? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and check out other videos for the latest boxing updates.